Well, I've reached the 50% mark in my year of FDS project. Alright, technically I'm very slightly past it, since there was something on my schedule that shouldn't have been there. But don't worry, I've got an extra special thing lined up for that day. The halfway mark's a good opportunity to reflect, think about how the project's going, and where it's going to go. Honestly, I've been a bit surprised at the low quality of disk system releases. Going in, I knew there were plenty of bad ones, but I really wasn't prepared for how few bright spots there were. And that said, I actually think we're heading into another interesting period for the disk system. A lot of the things you'll see in the next couple of months are at least experimental, rather similar to Nakayama Miho no Tokimeki High School in that way. I'm happier that the slower schedule has given me a lot of time to make other videos. A series on Famitsu's worst reviewed games, for example. Having options like that available to me helps prevent the burnout. I'm sure that in the second half of the year I'll find some other topic that piques my interest, and then spin a video out of that. Lately I've been tempted to make a historic overview of puzzle games, and that's a bit of a large topic. Maybe I just switch it up to being the rise and fall of the well-based puzzle game. Ideas like that have to percolate in my head for a long time before I really get going. I'm still very happy having my tiny little channel, and I still never bother looking at my viewer stats. I'm standing by my rule that I'm doing this because I want to do it, and I'm not going to worry about anything else. The slower schedule of the Year of FDS project has given me a bit more flexibility, and I have been traveling a lot lately. In the past 2 months I've been to 10 different countries. Some for pleasure, some for work. But since I have very little concern that this project will get finished, I haven't been pushing myself nearly as hard to complete episodes. My buffer is only about 6 weeks ahead. Looking back over the first half of this project, there have been some interesting surprises for me. The games that stand out as I do these videos aren't the popular ones. Everybody already knows that Akuma Joe Dracula is cool. But things like Kineko, it wasn't until I was in front of it and seeing it operate that I realized just how complex the graphics were. I could tell that even if they didn't display correctly on my Famicom. Other standouts that I overlooked before were Ai Senshi Nicole, Shin Onigashima, and Exciting Billiard. I've also been kind of pleased that my project has coincided with a lot of Japanese games becoming available outside of Japan for the first time. So you can just go play the good version of Relics right now if you want. For games where I think I'd like to go back and at least play them a bit more, I suspect that Seiken Psycho Caliber might have had a bit more of a hook to it if I had gotten past that dungeon. And even though I found the controls in MetMag to be a little bit flaky, I still enjoy solving puzzle games like that. The biggest disappointment in the project so far has been that I couldn't get around to making a sweater for the I Am a Teacher series. I looked at those patterns and I went, well, these are actually kind of boring looking, and decided to not even try to make one. I briefly considered making a little sweater for my cats, but they're already unhappy enough when I'm talking into a microphone. They don't need me putting a sweater on them. So where are we going from here? Well, obviously there's 6 more months of Disk System games, and I hate to tell you this, but they really step up the re-releases in the second half. A lot of early Famicom games get moved over to the Disk System. Other than those re-releases, we're pretty much past the popular games. Okay, it's always a little bit hard for me to judge what's popular when I've played everything, but even though they were released outside of Japan, I don't hear a lot of people talking about Karate Champ or Gyrus. The latter of which is actually a pretty good port. The Year of FDS will close out on December 31st with episode 191, or I guess 190 at that point. And then January 1st will roll right into another documentation project. So there's the project status. It's been a little bit rough and I've been a little bit busy, but we're coming into some interesting times here. I need to get back to work. But before I close out this video, I want to drop a big hint about my next bonus video, which you'll probably see in about a month and a half or so. It's going to be an overview of games in a very unpopular genre, though it's a genre that I get a huge kick out of. And I'm not going to talk about the one game series in that genre that people might actually know. So make your wild guesses now. Thanks for watching the first half of this year of Famicom Disk System, and I hope you enjoy the second half.